Hey, quickly, think of a good Mario Kart game. Alright, what one did you think of? Mario Kart Wii, maybe? Double Dash? Maybe 8 Deluxe? Alright, now take all the good features from it and make it, like, a little bit more mediocre. That's Mario Kart 7. So, Mario Kart 7. The second time that Mario Kart was put onto two screens. Mario Kart 7 was the Mario Kart for the 3DS and its system family, and honestly is probably the most overlooked one. I think I've called Super Circuit the most overlooked one before, but yeah, realistically it's 7. I mean, who thinks of 7 nowadays? Mario Kart 7, the best way I can describe it is like if you took Mario Kart Wii and made it portable, but with like some features from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but the movement is not as good as in Wii, and it's also not as good as in 8 Deluxe. The movement is really weird and slippery and clunky. Let's get into it. So Mario Kart 7 released, I think it was 2011, 2012, sometime around then, and it was, well, the 7th Mario Kart in the series. Coming out after the amazing game that was Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 7 had a lot of, well, hype to live up to. It didn't. Mario Kart 7, it's alright. It's got a couple tracks, it's custom tracks. Its new tracks are pretty damn good, and it's even got some decent retros as well. It's got a goofy character selection though. Let's just cover Mario Kart 7's character roster quickly here, because my god is it the goofiest one. Now you see, while Mario Kart 8, it had a bad roster and 8 Deluxe mostly fixed it, Mario Kart 7, it's not a bad roster. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a good one either. It's just a really, really weird one. So you've got, your normal characters. You've got Mario and Luigi and Peach and Bowser. All of those guys. And you've got Metal Mario, for some reason. And Lakitu. And the Bee from Mario Galaxy. Yeah, I have no idea what Nintendo was thinking there. Yeah, so as you can probably tell, this game's roster is, very goofy. Just the Bee. Waluigi isn't in the game, by the way. No, there's no Waluigi or Dry Bones, nor is there a Funky Kong or a Pauline or, most of the characters people like. You got no Dry Bowser. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any of the baby characters, which honestly, I'd say that's actually an improvement. No Birdo. A lot of the characters from Wii that were added that people actually liked just vanish in 7. Just gone. Not there. So yeah, the characters are a bit goofy, but that's not the only thing that changes in Mario Kart 7. There's also the karts. So, ever since Double Dash, custom karts have been a thing in Mario Kart, Double Dash introduced the ability to change what kart you're using, and different karts have different stats, and they look different, and it's a pretty cool feature. And Mario Kart 7 takes that to its absolute extreme by allowing you to customize, well, every part of the kart. Mario Kart 7 allows you to choose whatever wheels, kart body, and glider you're using on your kart, which is, an interesting thing. I personally actually don't really like this feature that much. It was carried over into 8 and 8 Deluxe, and I just think it's a bit clunky, especially with people who don't really play Mario Kart or games at all. It often just gives them a lot of choice, and then they end up taking like 15 years to actually choose a kart combination. I think just having the normal kart selector worked a lot better with the preset karts. But this is something that Mario Kart 7 introduced. And speaking of which, gliders. Mario Kart 7, that was like its whole thing. Gliders and underwater. Gliders and underwater sections. So yeah, Mario Kart 7 introduces gliders and underwater sections to tracks. But fun fact, those were supposed to be in Mario Kart Wii. Yeah, Nintendo originally planned for gliders and underwater sections of tracks to be introduced in Mario Kart Wii. They just didn't do it because well, they ran out of time. They didn't have enough time and resources to be able to work on putting that into Mario Kart Wii, so they just kind of kept that on the back burner and, well, chucked it into Mario Kart 7 when they could, I guess. But, you know, gliders and underwater driving, those have both stayed. Gliders in Mario Kart 7 actually work a little bit differently, actually quite a bit differently to how they do in Mario Kart 8. While in Mario Kart 8, gliders are just kind of like driving in the air, in Mario Kart 7, they actually feel a lot more like, well, gliders. In Mario Kart 7, the way that you fly is less like just driving going left and right, but more like actual flying, where you have to be able to go up and down. You can actually gain a decent amount of air if you know how to do the gliding correctly. The gliding physics are actually quite fun to work with in Mario Kart 7. In terms of underwater, it's more of just something that's there. Some of the tracks utilize it, and you know, some of them utilize it pretty well, but it's not like the most exciting of features, to be honest. And with the fact that Mario Kart 7's controls are already really annoying and slippery, the underwater sections in Mario Kart 7 are more just annoying than anything. But speaking of those underwater and glider sections, let's get on to the tracks. So, following the trend that DS started, Mario Kart 7 has 32 tracks, 16 retro tracks, and 16 brand new tracks exclusive to Mario Kart 7. Well, at the time, exclusive to Mario Kart 7. And its track selection actually is one of the better ones in the Mario Kart series. I mean, it definitely improves upon DS, and, well, when we're talking about retro tracks, actually, I'd say it improves even upon Wii. Though, at the same time, also has tracks from Wii to be able to pull from, and, well, it pulled some decent DS tracks as well. You know, let's actually just go over the retro tracks first instead of the normal ones. So, Mario Kart 7, it had mainly Wii tracks and a lot of DS tracks, and I think I know why. Wii, obviously, it was the game before Mario Kart 7, so they introduced a lot of tracks back from Wii into Mario Kart 7, and DS, well, Mario Kart 7 and DS are related in the fact that they're both on, well, dual screen systems, and with the 3DS being successor to the DS, I'm not surprised that a lot of DS stuff made its way over to Mario Kart 7, especially within the tracks. In terms of tracks that are notable for retros, Mario Kart 7 was the first Mario Kart to introduce a Rainbow Road retro track. Yeah, Mario Kart 7 introduced Rainbow Road from the SNES into their game. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, SNES Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 7, it's there, it's at the end of Lightning Cup, and honestly, it's a much better end track than, well, Yoshi Circuit in DS or N64's Bowser's Castle. I mean, N64 Bowser's Castle, it was okay to end Lightning Cup in Mario Kart Wii, but SNES Rainbow Road makes a lot more sense, and it definitely feels better. Mario Kart 7 also has a lot of other really good retro tracks. Tracks like Coconut Mall Maker return, Waluigi Pinball, Daisy Cruiser, Dino Dino Jungle, Koopa Cape, Calamari Desert, Luigi Raceway, Mushroom Gorge, Luigi's Mansion. These are all really, really good tracks that have made their way back into Mario Kart 7. In terms of all the Mario Karts, I wouldn't say Mario Kart 7 has the best retro track selection. I think it's pretty obvious which Mario Kart does. However, it's got a really, really good one. And in terms of Mario Kart 7's Nitro tracks, well, they're also decently good. Some really, really notable Mario Kart 7 tracks would be tracks like Maka Woohoo and Woohoo Island Loop, which are, well, the island from Wii Sports Resort, but as a Mario Kart track, which honestly is one of the most creative and best track ideas Nintendo has ever had. We've also got tracks like Neo Bowser City, or Koopa City depending on what region you're in, which is really, really, really underrated. Like, it's a super good track. Same with Rosalina's Ice World. I know a lot of people hate it, but honestly, there's not really much reason to. It's a good track. I don't get why people dislike it that much. Bowser's Castle, it's alright. It's got a good Donkey Kong track as well, with Donkey Kong Jungle based on the Donkey Kong Country series. And also Piranha Plant Pipeway, which is a really, really fun track that has a lot of callbacks to the original Mario games. But of course, I can't talk about tracks without talking about Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. Oh my god. Mario Kart 7 has objectively the best Rainbow Road out of any Mario Kart game, and it's not even close. It's the first ever Rainbow Road to be segmented into different sections of track instead of just being well, a loop. And the entire thing is just a magical experience to go on. The track takes a little while to get around, and you know, you go on like some really cool things. You go on the rings of Saturn, you end up on the moon at some point, and that ending section where you go through the tunnel and you're gliding through the air, then you go up to what is essentially a 90-degree straight upwards angle. And keep in mind, this was before anti-gravity was added with Mario Kart 8, and you were basically having, well, anti-gravity in Mario Kart 7. It is just such a good track, and the music as well pairs so nicely with it, with the callback to Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road. I know I dog on Mario Kart 64 a lot, and I know I don't like it, but the callback to the track music in it is just really, really good. Now, in terms of items, well, they're alright, I guess. Mario Kart 7 removes the two new items we added, which was the Thundercloud and the Power Block, and adds its own new items like the Lucky 7 and the Tanuki Leaf. The Lucky 7 is basically, it gives you 7 items that orbit around you. That's about it. And the Tanuki Leaf, it gives your cart a tail, and you can press the item button and it will swing the tail, and that will knock over people next to you or break items coming towards you. It's not the worst item, and there's definitely worse ones that are more useless. However, it's also not the best item either, and it's really not my favorite. In terms of all the other items, they're pretty much just the items you've had in any other normal Mario Kart. You got your shells, your bananas, your stars, your bullet bills. Everything is pretty much just the same. It's not really that much different from any other Mario Kart. Mario Kart 7 also keeps the trend that started with DS of online play. Mario Kart 7 servers would stay online until 2024 actually. They'd only deactivate over then, and even then, fans have managed to turn them back on again, and there's fan servers running for Mario Kart 7 that you can play on, so you can still experience Mario Kart 7 online. And speaking of Mario Kart 7 online, I just want to give a quick name drop here. Mario Kart 7 is a really good Mario Kart in terms of modding. Like, the base game is alright, but if you have CTGP 7, which is the main mod for Mario Kart 7, oh my god, it just makes it so much better. It elevates Mario Kart 7 to being one of the far, far better Mario Kart games from the tracks in the game alone, and it adds a whole bunch of characters. I digress, however, that's not, you know, base Mario Kart 7. So what's in base Mario Kart 7? Well, I'll tell you something that's not in it. Versus mode. Yeah, so for some reason they removed versus mode, even though single-player versus mode was something also introduced in DS, and multiplayer versus modes have existed before then. I really don't know why versus mode isn't in Mario Kart 7. It's really weird and dumb and kind of stupid, but it isn't there. So if you want to play just a single round of Rainbow Road, tough luck for you. You can't unless you're doing time trials or, well, you're modding the game. It also doesn't add back mission mode from DS, which is a feature that to this day people still want. So realistically, Mario Kart 7 doesn't actually have that many features, especially when compared to other Mario Kart games. However, I still think it's not that bad of a Mario Kart. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near like Mario Kart Wii or 8 Deluxe or Double Dash levels. That is not that good. And it's nowhere near as bad as Mario Kart 64. I think it's the perfect example of mediocre. Like, it shines, where it shines, it really shines. But where it's bad, it's really quite bad. And when you average it all out, it just ends up being a relatively average Mario Kart. Not overly exciting and good, but not horrendously bad either. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the game. I think Mario Kart 7, it gets a lot of hate, mainly because it's on a 3DS, which, I mean, kind of fair enough, but also kind of not, because 3DS did have a lot of good games. And, you know, Mario Kart 7, it's not the best one, right? It doesn't age amazingly well, but I still think it's an alright Mario Kart. Even then, at the end of the day, it's still got some really good tracks, and, well, the character selection, while not amazing, is still goofy and you can appreciate it for that at least. So yeah, Mario Kart 7 really is just kind of the black sheep of Mario Kart, but also kind of the one that fits in the most and blends in the most because, well, everyone just kind of forgets about it. So, what's the final verdict on Mario Kart 7? I'd say it gets too much hate. It's a decent Mario Kart, but at the end of the day, there are ones that are far, far better and ones that are far, far worse.